a dynamic and seasoned Chief Information Security Officer, Mr. Rajesh Yadla.
Technology and business aren't rivals, they both are teammates. They should go hand in hand in order to build the trust and support the growth.
How do you stay ahead of emerging threats in the constantly changing world of cybersecurity?
Our goal is to protect the people, safeguard the trust, and ensure that the AI transformation in the world is seamless. And also, we need to look at the most vulnerable people are never left behind.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm your host, Tanay All, and today we're stepping into a world that's almost invisible to most of us, but one that guards everything we value in the digital age, the world of cybersecurity and digital trust. Now, when people hear cybersecurity, they think firewalls, passwords, maybe a few blinking red alerts on a big screen somewhere. But what they don't see is the leadership, foresight, and resilience it takes to keep global organizations safe from ever evolving digital threats. Our guest today doesn't just protect systems, he builds cultures of security. He's Mr. Rajesh Yadla, a dynamic and seasoned Chief Information Security Officer with over 18 years of experience across banking and telecom, leading digital transformations, risk governance, and cloud security initiatives across continents. He's the man who led secure data integration during the FGB NBAD merger, expanded First Abu Dhabi's bank's global security footprint, architected G42's InfoSec function from the ground up, and optimized security operations to save millions while enhancing resilience. From AI risk frameworks to zero trust strategies, his work redefines how cybersecurity can drive business innovation, not slow it down.
Yeah.
Mr. Yadla, it's such a pleasure to have you with us on FaceTime with Leaders. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Tanya, and thank you so much for having me here on FaceTime with Leaders. I really appreciate this platform because it creates the space for meaningful conversations that go beyond headlines and into the what truly matters for organizations today. It's truly a privilege to contribute to that dialogue, and I'm really honored to be here.
Lovely, sir. Sir, we would love to start off today's conversation on a very simple note, which is talking about your career journey. Now, everyone has a path, and we would love to know, your journey along the way, the path you took, and maybe some moments that helped shape the professional you are today.
Yeah, if someone had told me that I would one day leading cybersecurity for a global organization, I probably would have laughed because my journey did not start from a data center or I did not have a computer degree. It started from a biochemistry lab. Do you imagine that kind of feeling? Back in early 2000s, while I was studying my biochemistry, there was a trend that everybody wanted to get into a technical call center. It was so cool and it's like a global career. But there was an issue. I was not good in English and I did not have technical knowledge. But that did not stop me. So 5 years, I have worked really hard to improve my communication skills. And my family and friends wondered why a science student wanted to get into technical career. And it's turned out to be like curiosity plus stubbornness. I think it's a pretty powerful combination. So my real breakthrough came in 2007 when I got the first job in technical call center in HCL. And the first time I've seen something which blew my mind. I saw the systems in Chennai can seamlessly interact with the systems in New York, and they can seamlessly exchange the data. That blew my mind. It was such a fascinating thing for me. Something that world pulled me into that, and I started learning different concepts related to networking, cybersecurity, then technology risk management, and slowly developing myself of getting some certifications, and finally all it slowly building my career in cybersecurity. So as I went deeper into the cybersecurity, I had a big realization. being good in technology is not good enough, because I sit in boardrooms and I feel it, the really good technical insights lost in translation. So cybersecurity sounds like cost. It's important, but it's not so exciting, right? So that's where I went out of my comfort zone and pursued my MBA from UCLA and NUS, which is one of the top universities that time. And that experience changed everything. I learned technology and business aren't rivals. They both are teammates. They should go hand in hand in order to build the trust and support the growth, right? So and there are some days where we think that it's very difficult to handle cybersecurity. Like there are some long nights and there are plans going off script. But those moments taught me that cybersecurity isn't just about perfection; it's about persistence, right? Saying that staying calm under the pressure and building trust, even when everything around you feels like uncertain. That's something, a great value that I have got during my tenure in cybersecurity. Personally, I feel so happy that we are protecting the confidence, privacy, and very fabric on how people connect, bank, shop, and live online, right? So that's a really great honor for me. And that drives me as a head of information security today, if I have to speak. So yep, that's about my journey, from being a biochemist but just curious about the technology to become a cybersecurity leader, building the digital trust. It's about it's about being curious about the things and finding purpose and turning that into something that really makes the difference in the world, right? So if the listeners who are listening to this podcast, and if you think that you should be perfect in order to chase your dreams, no, you don't need to. You just need to start and keep going, and you will achieve your dream at some point of time.
Yeah, very, very true. And the path is through curiosity, I guess.
Yeah, correct.
So, you played a key role in leading cybersecurity operations across a variety of organizations, from first Abu Dhabi Bank to G42, and you've overseen critical digital transformation projects. With so much happening in the cybersecurity world, can you walk us through a typical day in your life as a CISO? Like, what are the major responsibilities that fill your day, and what's it like coordinating security for such large international operations?
Wow, it's a really interesting question, Tanay. For every CISO, it's different every day. But let me tell you how does my day look like. Most of the people think CISO starts his day like a dramatic scene where you have in a crime movie where you have red lights flashing and you're trying to chase hackers down. Honestly, most of the days are calm, and it's quiet to start with. I wake up early in the morning, I go to gym, then skim through my team updates on different aspects, like if there are any cyber attacks or any system issues that happen in overnight, which we need to give the priority for the day. It's bits like checking your weather app. Instead of rain and sunshine, I try to see what's coming, what is the expectation from attackers. Like, are we getting compromise or any chance of compromise from the attackers? So my main responsibility is supporting the business with security strategy and addressing their concerns. Like, most of the times they ask me, what are the real threats that we need to concern about? If there is an incident occurs, what is the cost? Is from a financial perspective, on customer side, and our reputational perspective, right? And finally, the most important one, that are our current safeguards are genuinely working, or are we being lucky,
Yeah.
right? So that's, as a CISO, that's my job to answer these critical questions for the organization and translate cyber risk into business terms and ensure that risk management becomes the driver of resiliency in every business opportunity. So I often think my role is something like captaining a cricket team, right? It's like in a very big match. You have group of players in my team, like, who are really good at spotting attacks, They are somebody who can actually calculate the risk really well, and there are some people who build the really solid defenses within our environment. But my job is to make these people place in right place and decide when to attack and when to defend. Right. So there are days where we feel it. The day is very calm, but suddenly you get the DDoS attack, which hits you like a angry elephants, and other day you will get a very tiny vulnerability like SMB vulnerability that compromise the entire systems in the organization, right? So it's a really tough job, Tanay, if you think about it. But what the best thing that I can say in this role is that it's not about tech, it's about people. Like I work with a lot of people across different time zones and different cultures, and my job is to help everyone understand why cybersecurity matters, right? Not just rules or compliance, but how it protects customers and the company reputation enables the business growth. Right? Once the people understand why part of it, and they're not just following your instructions, they actually part of your mission. And honestly, my job is to make them understand the why part, right? So that is a very important role as a CISO. That's about a typical day of a CISO, to be frank. By the end of the day, usually it's late. Normally, it's late in the night, but it feels like it's so meaningful. Cybersecurity is not about just stopping the bad guys. It's about helping the companies to go safe and supporting the innovation, right? So and like it's busy, yes. Sometimes it's stressful, and the thrill of surviving another day makes this job so much interesting.
Yeah, very well said, sir. So you've overseen major transformations and a number of them, right? Now, how do you ensure that cybersecurity remains aligned with the business goals while you're expanding teams and adapting to new technology? Like, what challenges do you face in balancing innovation and security in such a fast-moving environment?
Uh, for me, everything starts with the business goals, right? Before talking about any cybersecurity tools or controls, the first thing, the main question that everybody should answer is, what are we trying to achieve? Are we trying for a faster growth, or expanding it to the new market, or improving our current security posture and customer experience, right? Once we know about the goal, I design the security controls to safeguard that particular goal. That's the main important purpose of being a CISO in the organization, right? So as company grows and adopts new technology like cloud, AI, and automation, staying aligned meaning keeping security close to the business. So I ensure that our team works side by side with different departments, key departments in the organization like production, operations, and compliance, and ensure that we always talk in their business terms and how they get affected in terms of revenue or trust or compliance perspective if something goes wrong, right? And that is an important recipe, and that language keeps us closer to the business, and we ensure that we align with all the business goals in the organization. The major challenge is balancing innovation and security, right? Because there are so many new technologies that are coming. For example, AI is one of the good examples. Every company wants to adopt it fast and not considering about risks about data leaks or bias, right? The solution is not to say that, okay, no, we cannot allow it. It's about how we can put the guardrails in a way that our basic controls we can meet in the initial stage, and ensuring that we do the ongoing monitoring to enable the innovation in a safer way. So to sum up, aligning cybersecurity with business transformation means three things for me. It's about always focus on what the business is trying to achieve, build security into the new ideas and tech from the very beginning when you are trying to adopt such technologies. The third one is to create culture where everyone feels it's responsible for security. It's not like we are following some rules in the organization, right? So that's about the things. Out of curiosity, I want to ask one question, Tanay. What do you think? Why do we have brakes in the car?
Because of less maintenance.
Okay, it's close to that, but the brakes, normally people think that we the brakes are there to stop the car, right?
Yeah, yeah,
When you need it, right?
yeah.
But there is another purpose. I have learned it in my experience, and it's a very nice one. Is that brakes are there to enable the driver to go fast, right? So
Yeah,
most of the times, most of the times, the business thinks that cybersecurity is there to stop you doing something or innovate something, right? But I see the other picture. It's like car brakes. We are there to enable you to go faster in a safer way, and if you want to brake in somewhere, you have option to brake. That is the importance of the cybersecurity that we are
yeah,
talking. I want
yeah.
to change the perspective of the people, what they think about cybersecurity as a blocker, rather than it's an enabler to grow stronger and build a digital trust.
Yeah. Safety and security is an enabler, which in the long run, especially. So, one thing that stands out in your career is how you work with new technologies like AI and cloud security to predict and mitigate threats. How do you stay ahead of emerging threats in the constantly changing world of cybersecurity? Like, are there any specific tools or strategies you rely on to keep your organization prepared for the evolving landscape?
Um, if I had to describe the future of cybersecurity, right, it feels like stepping onto a field where the game hasn't even started, and half the way the rules are going to be changed, right? So that's very difficult game to play, right? So threats today evolve, adapt, and learn faster than business can react. Especially AI, cloud, and related automation, attackers can now mimic human behavior and act in a scale that previously we never imagined, right? This isn't just a corporate problem, it's a societal problem. In developing countries, especially, the millions of people are digitally vulnerable with these new technologies that we are talking. So, Tanay, how do you feel? You feel like you're safe in all the AI around there, and you feel your privacy is retained?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I feel safe. I feel that everything I say or type is heard or read today.
Yeah, that's the feeling everybody has it, right?
Yeah.
So it is, that AI can be weaponized to the people, not only not only affect their issues, financial things, but also their livelihood can affected with these new attacks. Like, for example, I'll give you a small information. There is a attack happened in Hong Kong. There is a deep fake video sent to an employee and asking to transfer millions of dollars. And it was a CFO with his face, with his actual accent, and it was so true that the employee fell in that, and he transferred the almost like 18 million dollars to the attacker, right? So that's the kind of world that we are living at this point of time. So the best way that we can as a CISO, and we do it in a way that first is the intelligence. We look into the different innovations and the kind of threats these innovations are bringing to the business, and we are going ahead of it and trying to protect the business from these threats. That's the first one. The second one is about the collaboration between the CISOs across the world, because AI and the related technologies is becoming a threat to everyone, right? So we need to collaborate. We need to exchange the information about the threats that we are dealing with, so that we can effectively combat these AI related threats. So that's the second one. The third one is about building the strong team, the team that knows how to how to go and combat these attacks that are coming, right? So this is a very important thing. You need to relook at your team skills and ensure that the skill set is there to fight against the threats that we are facing today. And finally, AI is both challenge and an opportunity. The same intelligence is there with the attackers as well as us, right? So we need to know like how we can actually use it to predict and adapt and protect the organization.
Yeah,
So
very true.
as far my knowledge is concerned, cybersecurity today has no finish line. It's only the moving horizon. Our goals is to protect the people, safeguard the trust, and ensure that the AI transformation in the world is seamless. And also, we need to look at the most vulnerable people are never left behind.
Yeah, very true. Okay, so now time for the rapid fire round. Uh,
Okay.
a few quick questions, and we request you for some quick answers. So, are we ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Perfect. First thing you do when you wake up,
Go to gym. I love going to gym.
the tech gadget you can't live without,
My PC. I do a lot of things with my PC, so that's the one.
comfort food after a long day,
Any spicy Andhra food. I love Andhra food, so yeah.
one cybersecurity myth you wish people would stop believing,
Okay, cybersecurity is not a blocker; it's an enabler.
your go-to productivity tool or app,
I would say Perplexity because I do a lot of research on that, so it's a really good tool.
one book or podcast that has influenced you,
It's HBR IdeaCast from Harvard University. They have a really good podcast. I learn a lot from them.
the most challenging part of managing cybersecurity at a global scale.
Managing regulatory landscape in different countries, it's really challenging.
If you had to teach a class on one subject, what would it be?
Security and AI ethics. It's very important at this point of time.
A place you'd love to travel for a break.
Any place with mountains, a valley with green mountains around. That's the place I would love to.
One thing you're passionate about outside of work.
Cricket. I love watching and playing cricket.
If your life had a movie title, what would it be?
Oh wow, it's different one, difficult one. The world that the digital world that I had to protect.
Lovely. Great, sir. That gets us to the end of our rapid fire round. Now back to the slightly more serious questions.
Sure.
Sir, throughout your career, you've seen firsthand how cybersecurity and risk management are intertwined with governance and ethics. In our industry, we've seen some significant wake up calls over the years, from data breaches to global regulatory changes that made organizations rethink their entire approach to security. When you look at these moments, the ones that really shook the industry, what do you think is the biggest lesson for today's leaders?
Yeah. Before that, can I ask you one question? Like, what do you
Sure.
think the total loss of revenue, the cost that we have given to cyber attacks in 2024?
In 2024, I mean, ballpark, I mean, $100 million.
Okay, extremely high figure. It's $4 trillion of loss, and it's a $9 trillion of future revenue loss in 2024. And it's going to be expected to increase by $7 trillion by 2030. So if you put that into perspective, all the attackers together, they are the fourth largest economy in the world. So, so if you look into that, like most of the major wake-up calls we have seen, there's only one thing there, right? Once you lose the trust due to any cyber attacks, it's impossible to get back. So I can give you several examples. One is in TravelX in 2020. A ransomware hit their systems and they are out of business, and their customer transactions are not happening. Like it was stranded there, and they couldn't manage the customer expectation, right? So in terms of the reputation and the recovery of that particular attack, TravelX crippled their into the losses, and they filed a bankruptcy. And the same thing, another an interesting story about SolarWinds. One compromised software update from them reached 18,000 organizations worldwide, including the governments and Fortune 500 companies. Attackers were able to compromise those organizations which they got the update from SolarWinds. Suddenly it becomes very clear that your security isn't your own. Your weakest links might be your partners, your vendors, sometimes your customers when you're serving the customers through some digital channels, right? So, and also these attacks aren't random, if you're aware. Like, do you know these attackers? They have the like an organizing style of working. They have their own HR department, their finance department. They try to recruit the best hackers in the world, and they coordinate and execute the with the business precision, right? So that's how the world is working at this point of time. And the another biggest complexity is the AI, right? Generative AI tools, they're really good. They boost the productivity, but without proper governance and guardrails, it's very difficult and it's very challenging for organizations. One example I can tell you: Samsung developers, they post the code in ChatGPT to just to fix some bugs in the code, and that code is out of their organization, and they lost that code, right? These mistakes are very, very expensive to the organization. So, what is the lesson? Leaders need to understand that protecting systems and data directly protects the revenues,
Yeah.
reputation, and customer trust. Yep, that's the first thing. Second one is leaders can no longer treat ethics as a afterthought. It has to be embedded in the culture and policies, and it should be the strategy from day one. And from my perspective, finally, leaders must stay ahead of evolving threats, anticipate the risk, and build the adaptive systems, because attackers are not waiting, and so we should also not wait for any attacks. We should be proactive on that front. So at the end of the day, the companies that thrive aren't those ones which has the best firewalls implemented there, right? They are the ones that understand that cybersecurity, ethics, and trust are inseparable, and technology will keep evolving, threats will keep evolving, but trust is timeless. So protect it, embed it in the every business decision. I think you not only survive, actually, those companies will thrive in the future.
Sir, you've recently joined Directors Institute. We would love to know what initially drew you to join DI and how has being a part of the community shaped your view on leadership and decision making at the boardroom level.
Yeah, I'm currently taking the International Corporate Directorship program from Directors Institute. The most valuable part for me is that how it's completely changed the way I think about leadership and governance at the board level, right? Because I did not have an experience at the board level decisions perspective. Coming from information security background, I've spent several years in risk, building trust, and handling tough incidents. But I wanted to grow beyond day-to-day operations and contribute more strategically in the board. So this program is pushing me to think bigger, like the true board member. It's giving me the tools to join deeper conversations on strategy, risk, ethics, and creating long-term value, right? So another biggest thing that, and a surprise that I wanted to tell from this program that I have learned is about ESG factors, environment, social, and the governance factors. Right? Before this course, I did not fully understand how crucial these are for the business, and now I can see that strong ESG practices aren't just nice to have, they actually make the business and the organization more valuable for the community and the nation. So overall, it's just not a course, it's a real mindset shift that perfectly aligning with my journey from security leadership to strategic board level governance.
Lovely. Great, sir. Thank you so much for those kind words. It has been an absolute pleasure having you with us on this episode of FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. And what stood out to me most is how you've shown us that cybersecurity is not just about firewalls or system, it's about trust, integrity, and strategic leadership. Thank you for sharing your incredible journey, your expertise, and your reflection with us today, because I'm sure we can all take something invaluable from the knowledge you've provided to us and the viewers. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Tanay, and I'm really honored to be in this particular podcast, and I really enjoy the conversation between us. hopefully we have produce some value to
Yeah.
the community that the people can take and implement in their day-to-day lives. Thank you so much.
100%. 100%. To our listeners, I hope today's conversation has given you a new perspective on how leadership in the world of cybersecurity is driven by foresight, ethics, and a deep commitment to the safety of organizations in this fast paced digital world. I am Tanay All, and until next time, stay curious, stay secure, lead with integrity, and of course, have fun in your journey. Thank you so much.